Hey, in anime here. Let's take a deep breath because Wonder Egg Priority Episode 7, After School at 14, hit the hardest out of all the episodes thus far. This episode focused on Rika and how she has to deal with an alcoholic mother and self-harm. Yet again, there are so many details and topics that can be talked about and picked at in this episode, but I want to focus on the Wonder Killer and the devastating power of influence that cults have on society, especially because we almost saw Rika meet her end. And I also have another wild theory that can have some devastating consequences on the main girls. So, pull up a chair and let's discuss.
Their power to overwhelm and destroy. The world's most shocking monster.
Rika has issues, and we learned in this episode that they stem from her mother. It's Rika's birthday and she's getting ready to meet up with her friends. When we are first introduced to her mother, we can clearly see she's an alcoholic. She also hands Rika money to buy herself something nice for her birthday. Not good parenting. And the cherry on top of the cake is when we find out that Rika doesn't know who her father is, and that he could be one of a number of guys, according to her mother. However, there's dishonesty here. Through Rika's own accounts, she has enough of a memory of him to remember him talking to her and giving her the useful advice of a woman never needing to carry a wallet. That means he was in her life long enough that the mother definitely knows who he is. And we have to wonder why she wants to hide his identity from Rika. Is he actually a cool man? A manipulator? Maybe he's a great guy, and there's something about the mother that caused a split. Only time will tell. Regardless, Rika has no relationship with him, and throughout the episode, we witness how strongly Rika wants to know who he is. These emotions are so strong, in fact, that I'm sure they contribute to her habit of self-harm. Like a majority of people who self-cut, Rika does it to feel pain. She wants to feel pain in the sense that she's typically numb to the world because of how in shambles her life is. Enter the Wonder Killer and the A-Girl. This Wonder Killer is by far the most powerful one that any of the girls have encountered so far. He is a cult leader, and the A-Girl met her fate because her and her family sacrificed everything to follow him and his teachings to be one with the cosmos. And they commit suicide to accomplish that mission. The A-Girl is also unique because even in death she is still attached to the Wonder Killer and sees him as a leader. This speaks to the power that these cult leaders have over, dare I say, the weak-minded. Notice how he is crafted. His multiple arms are syringes because cult leaders inject their poisonous ideology into their fanatics, much like a drug addict injects the poison of drugs into their system. And the Wonder Girl proves to be a threat to Rika. She points out their similarities in being self-cutters, and convinces Rika to give in and die so that she doesn't feel the pain anymore. And Rika does give in and stops fighting. As we know, she does snap out of it, and interestingly, it isn't her friends who snap her out, but rather Manon, her little turtle pet. She comes to the realization that she is Manon's mother, and he is there to protect his mother, because one must always protect their mother no matter what faults they have because you love them. Rika figures that Manon is her child, and she has to live on to take care of it. Once the Wonder Killer is defeated, Rika explains to the A-Girl that she understands she's weak, and she uses the cutting as a balance to not commit suicide, but to remind herself to not leave this world and abandon the things she cares about. Well, until she met Ai, Niru, and Momo, she could have only really cared about a couple of things. Her fans, which it's a superficial type of caring, and her mother. And at the end of the episode, when Rika is back at home, Rika's mother shows that she knows she isn't the best mother in the world, and she knows that Rika will abandon her. Rika acknowledges this, but assured her mother that she's not going to leave anytime soon. As I mentioned before, there's a lot more to nitpick about this episode, like the fact that Ai is back in school, and how Niru didn't grow up with parents, which she attributes to her more serious and logical outlook on life. But she does say something that I find very cryptic and possibly foreshadowing. In reference to possible bullies in school, she tells Ai, worst come to worst, feed them to Leon. They're essentially haters. She does have a point, and the fact that they can summon their pets in the real world does imply that there can be some real life consequences if they were ever to be summoned and attempt to protect either Ai, Momo, Niru, or Rika. One idea that came to mind was when Rika was cutting herself, and Manon was watching. A self-cutter is essentially a self-hater. Now, Manon is not going to do anything to hurt Rika because she's his mother. But what about the other pets? They hold no bond or reason to protect Rika. If they're hungry, why wouldn't they eat a hater that is right in front of them? And even if it isn't Rika, like I said, Can you imagine if they started picking off students at the school? Don't forget that the Akkas warned the girls about the use of these creatures, but didn't really elaborate any further. So, what do you think about this idea, about the pets, or anything else that happened in this episode? Please let me know. And don't forget to like the video if you truly liked it, because I really do appreciate it. I'm an anime, and I'm out. Anime.